try to go in and play like there's certain cities we can play Detroit and get we had like 40,000 in Detroit, but I mean when you're going to some of these cities that are really wiped out, they can't afford $10 for a ticket.
God, I know. We were talking about that, the economics.
Yeah.
I understand. We were just talking to Brian here. Dan Carlisle.
Oh yeah, real well.
Yeah, I worked with Dan here at She for a while. He's had a short stay here in South Florida after Detroit and LA.
Do you know Dave Dixon?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave used to be at ABX.
Yeah, right.
In Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah, Dixon's still in town.
He has the all-night TV movies.
He's not doing that anymore now. He took that all-night channel, UHF. It's now subscription television.
He had a funny thing where he used to call the movies turkeys. His movie nights are real turkey, and they really got on him, right?
But nobody set him up for like Dave.
Well, what they did, he'd go out and he said if the movie was a real turkey, he'd have a can of cranberry sauce on his desk, and if the movie he couldn't say it was a turkey, he'd just point to the cranberry sauce.
Right. You know what goes with that.
Yes.
Yeah, he was master of dry wit.
Yeah, he's real good.
Those B flicks. But,
yeah, I mean really bad. I love the bad ones.
He had a special wardrobe. The most atrocious shirts. You
Yeah.
can imagine wear that.
He was a real Detroit guy.
Yeah.
That's my hometown too.
Yeah, Dan was looking. We hired him out of LA when he was working at KROQ. Brought him down to She here.
Yeah.
And,
he's at LOS now, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was just telling him.
Yeah, you know Danny Carlisle. I know him for years. Jeez.
Yeah, he's been around, doing real well now. Glad to see him. He went from here down up to.
He was in San Francisco for a while.
Philly, went from here to Philly, San Francisco, then moved to Chicago, and San Francisco down to LA, and just circumvented the whole country.
I don't, it's funny, you go on a tour, and you go to the stations and everything, the next time you go to the stations, everybody's changed, and all the different, it's like getting traded, So we're going to give you a Danny Carlisle for...
It is, it's like...
first baseman.
It's really a ping pong game, radio these days.
Yeah, it's real weird, because you can never really get a stable kind of thing.
Well, for a while there was, but since he left She because format came in. Yeah, he did. We all just left She. She was our baby.
I know. She was the best station here.
Yeah, it's been through some changes. So, Alice, I understand you had a surprise tonight, a personal surprise.
Yes, my personal wife, my own personal wife came down, and I know she wants to get on stage so bad. And my baby's over there too, Calico.
Calico?
Calico Cooper.
Calico Cooper.
She's already, she's really, I'm not one of those people who go and brag about my baby, but this baby.
Think you'll bring her up sometime?
Oh yeah, she's going to be like, we already told her that she's born backstage, and she got a record contract already. And, locker. Showbiz baby.
Must be tough being on the road.
It is. It's the first time Cheryl now, she dances in the show, and there's a big chunk of the show now that we had to fill in because we're not doing that much theatrics anymore. The 70s, that's when it was the heyday of that. And getting into the 80s, I think it's important to step up to what's going on right now. Less production, high tech, more thing, Like the show tonight is, it didn't cost anything. But that wasn't the idea of not costing anything. It was just the fact that it doesn't have to cost anything. We went a locker. We want this and this and this. And the Nightmare show costs like $500,000 to produce.
You're still quite visual.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a guerrilla type of theater now, which is fun for me, for Alice. He gets to play it.
Really, you are such a visual act and always have been. You've been on the cutting edge of video and the marriage of rock and roll. How do you see that as it played a role in your act in the past and in the future? How is it going to play a role?
Well, it's a funny thing. Is video used to excite me until it's almost like producing records. Anybody can look good on video. Anybody can. Anybody can sound great in studios. What I like about the 80s thing is what we're doing is like taking the band in to the studio and making the record sound like the band. It's almost like the old Yardbirds. If you listen to a Yardbirds tape, that band sounded exactly like that record. And there was not a lot of overdubs and things like that. So that's what's happening now, I think.
Raw elements.
Yeah, well, just the fact that it's a reality towards the whole thing, and a lot of times it sounds awful because the bands are awful, But I'd rather hear that than a produced mediocre band myself.
Sure. A lot of bands won't work in the visual sense.
Oh yeah. Some of the groups out now have got an automatic sense of humor built in. And I don't even think they know that they're funny, But some of these groups are. There's a band called the Ray Milans. The Exploding Pintos. There's a group called the Exploding Pintos. Those are great names. That's very creative.
There are some wonderful names.
Yeah, it's amazing because they are doing something really creative, I think.
How do you think, we were talking, I don't know if you were in the room when we talked about the economics of rock and roll, $10 a ticket, you were turning people away tonight here at Sunrise. you think video will apply itself to where the video disc comes out? Do you see the live and the
Yeah,
videotape
it's
somehow
it's just too
applying?
bad that rock and roll on any sort of medium it flattens out, and there's no way of getting around that until maybe you get what do you call holograms or something, you know. Rock and roll on TV is very flat. You don't hear you don't feel the bass here. You don't get you don't get that bass drum sound here, and it does take it into another dimension. I've never really seen good rock and roll on television.
No, it
I
hasn't
really haven't.
been. But they're rectifying that now with stereo hookups.
Yeah, yeah, right. And even that though isn't they can't hit you with all the sound like it's supposed to be. That sound is supposed to shake you. You know, like I want the band to play loud when we go on stage. You know, I don't care what the balance is. I hit them with it. You know, we go out there. When I come out there with the, you know, that's the attitude. The rest of the show, and don't let down.
Really?
You know, because I've got my riding crop.
Yeah,
So anybody that lets down gets shot. Gets a shot, and I give them a good shot too. You know.
I saw you whip Panera with your jacket tonight. You
Yeah, it was great.
Draped across his guitar.
Great, you know, spontaneous things happen every night, and that's what's fun about the show. I mean, it's a sprint. The show is. It's like, whew, you know.
Well paced.
It's hard, you know, but I mean, I'm in great shape right now. Really good shape. I could take Hearns maybe 3 rounds.
Talking about taking.
I'd take him to the soda shop.
You said Panera is the only one you're afraid of. Why is that?
He's always smiling about something. It's like Mr. Rogers is always, you know, it's a lovely day in the neighborhood. You know, he's got a butcher knife collection somewhere, you know. He's got arms hanging somewhere. But Panera's always like that. It's always, no matter what's going on, it's, hi, boss. You know, hi, Mike. How are you? You know, I pat him on the head.
It's because he's a Miami boy. That's
Oh,
probably-
he's great. I've known Mike for years, you know. And he really is. When he gets on stage, he's just like uncontrollable, which I love. You know, I said, let him go, you know. But that's great. He plays the guitar with his teeth. I say sometimes the audience put up with him, okay? He thinks he's a Negro, I think.
I haven't seen that in a while, the teeth.
Oh, yeah, well, you know, that's a funny thing. A lot of the bands now, or the kids, 15 years old, never saw Jimi Hendrix, who, you know, was the original guy that did that. And a lot of props like that work. Like the guillotine that I used on the thing was an old vaudeville thing. I mean, it was a real guillotine, and it was maybe 50-year-old trick. But this generation had never seen it applied to rock and roll. And that sensationalism of it really looks good when it happens because it's a real. I mean, it only misses me by that much.
Yeah.
You know. And same with the hanging. You know, all those things cost a lot of money, but they really looked right.
The snake works too.
The snake just, I don't know. We just bring her out, and she's a professional. You know?
Still the same snake?
No, it's a different one. Her name is Angel. This snake here is really getting theatrical. I think he's getting hungry. Is what it is. She wrapped herself around like this tonight, and she was like, you know, I was going, I'm 18 and I don't. I'm talking to him, going, don't do this to me. She does get in there though. They're deaf. Snakes are deaf, and so they don't hear any music. They feel the vibration of it, and they like the heat because they're basically, you know, they like the tropical kind of thing. So they're really arrogant. When you take her out there, she hams it up. You know, one night she wrapped around my head like Cleopatra, you know, the thing, and she just kept her head like that, you know, and it was
Sort of a ham.
yeah, oh, it's really.
Tell us about the new album. I understand you're coming out.
Well, the Special Forces album it's almost like Flesh the Fashion Part 2, because the Flesh album really brought something new to what I wanted to do, which was what we were talking about. No overdubs, no. I mean, the band went. We rehearsed the music every day and like garage bands, you know. And that's the only way to really do it. And then we went in the studio with Roy Thomas on Flesh, and we did the thing in 5 weeks. You know, it was just, and it was, I couldn't ask for anything more. You know, normally where there's a hole in you know, in the 70s, if there's a hole in the song, it'll be filled in with nervous guitar. A guy that wants to play as good as Clapton, you know. In the 80s, leave the hole. Let it stay there, you know. I mean, that's what makes a song go like this. So on the new one, Special Forces, it's literally the hardest album I've ever made as far as hard rock. The first side is Muncher, a heart pacer, you know. It's really 5 songs of just relentless, totally. And I'm really proud of it. I really like it. You know, it just keeps. You figure it's got to give you a rest somewhere, and it doesn't.
When this airs, it'll be out. It's coming out in August.
Yeah, very soon. Yeah, we did. Remember 7 + 7 is by Love? It was
Love.
yeah, there was a song real fast. It was like Train Kept Her Rolling.
Yeah,
It was called
yeah.
7 + 7 is. That was like Talk Talk. There was 2 songs I always wanted to re-record. It was Talk Talk and 7 + 7. And 7 + 7 is such a. I mean, it's just. It's so exciting because it just pins you to a seat, you know. And back then, their production wasn't that great. You know, they recorded at 66. And you do it now with this, boy, it's just, you know, it needs another chance. I thought that song deserved another chance.
There's a lot that was recorded then that I think will be done with the new
It
technology.
has to be,
So
you know, just for the fact that, you know, I wanted to hear it. I really wanted to hear it with the big, you know, not overly produced, just raw. And, you know, same with the Generation Landslide. We re-recorded that on this album, live, a live version. And that was on the $1 Billion Babies album. And that song was taken with acoustic guitars, and it was taken with harmonicas and things like that. And it was the best lyrics I ever wrote, because it predicted exactly what's going on now. And brats and battalions are ruling the street scenes, Generation Landslide. And I said, I've got to redo this song. You know, it has to be done. Only now it sounds like Godzilla, you know, because I said, let's put electric on it and let's really make it a monster.
Your heart beats rock and roll. Why do you stay on the road?
I love it, you know. It's hard now. You know, I'm a real road rat. You know, I mean, I like this. But the only way you can really like this is if you go on for 3 weeks and then you go home for 3 weeks. You know, because I would never do one of these things where you have 65 cities, and we did 65 cities, what, 72 days? Something like that. And then you can start to hate the road, because you have a reason to hate it then, you know. But if you go on 3 weeks on and 3 off like that, I think that's really a good, fun way to do it.
Properly paced, my God.
I mean, I love turquoise plastic couches, you know. I like to lay down in the afternoon and stick to them and, you know, leave half your skin on them. Surf and turf, $1.85, all you can eat.
Road food,
Yeah, but I mean, when you see surf and turf, it's lobster and steak for $1.85, all you can eat. You know it has never seen a cow.
Some kind of beefalo or something.
Yeah, it's something. It's part of the carpet, probably. I like Holiday Inns. I'm not knocking. I love Holiday Inns. Mr. Holiday and myself are. I think the most dangerous person in the world is the person that did the interior decorating for the Holiday Inns.
There's a lot of color.
But think of it. You know, somebody actually said, "I want 8 billion." You know, drapes like that, you know, and I want them everywhere. That's how much I like those drapes. Everybody better like them, because they're going to have to like them forever. And those 3 horses on the walls, those turquoise horses, I want to rip them, and I love them though.
Pretty hideous. There's a song here somewhere.
Oh, this is really a great place. I really feel at home in a place like this. Cheryl and I were going to do a room in the house at Holiday Inn, you know, just so when we get ready to go on tour, we would, you know, we'd go in there for a week, get ready, have people bring us styrofoam plates.
You're going around the world, I hear.
Yeah, I haven't been out of the States for a long time. I'll be honest with you, I'm a real nationalist. You know, I don't like being inconvenienced at all, and going out of the United States of America is inconvenient.
The showers don't work.
There's no all-night TV. You know, there's this, like, you can't get a pizza. You know, I was in London, and I was sitting there. Bernie Taupin and I were over there, and we were sitting there watching TV. It's 9 o'clock on Saturday night, prime time television. It was a 2-hour special on soybeans. Not a half hour or an hour, 2 hours. It really, I mean, and, you know, the next day we knew everything about soybeans. We were doing interviews, you know, did you know that the soybean? But I mean, you know, what are they thinking? You know, I mean, nobody cares about soybeans. And I realized we were watching it. You know, we sat there and we were really engrossed in it, taking notes. You know? But I mean, any place, you go to Germany, nothing stays open, you know, unless you want to go to beer places and things like that. But I just really, you know, I love television. I can't stand it when.
I was just down in South America. Rock and roll in South America is just.
Oh yeah.
Unchained.
We had the world record down there for an indoor concert. We had 158,000 in Sao Paulo, and it was crazy, man. It was nuts.
Brazil.
Yeah, Sao Paulo. And it was just as far as you could see. I mean, as far as I could see, there were just bodies out there. You know? And then the funny thing is about their, you know, their economy is that there's, and that's Sao Paulo, where I think there's 15 million people there, and 158,000 people indoor. If they breathed at the same time, you know, it was like a roar. And then the next night we played Rio de Janeiro, and we played for like 1,300 people, but they all paid $1,500 a ticket. You know, because it was a very, you know. But it was, you know, that's the difference right there. I think the other tickets were $1 a piece, maybe. But I mean, I've never seen anything like that.
They're excitable. They really
Oh yeah. I mean, there were 4 or 5 people got killed. Just 30,000 people showed up at the press conference. Why? You know? They thought I was the Antichrist and everything, you know, because I had the snake in the front page of their newspaper. I had the snake, you know, the makeup. I'm looking pretty serious, you know. And it said this guy was. They were afraid of me, you know, like hide their children and things like that. I felt really good. I'd walk down into the hall, I'd go, ah, you know, oh, you doing something.
A lot of people.
Santa Maria.
A lot of people are afraid of you. Were and maybe still are.
I think Alice is more vicious now than he's ever been on stage. He's actually more lively now. He's got more imagination. The other shows were great because they were choreographed and written out. There was very little room for Alice to, he'd set up the audience because that's the way it was supposed to be. It was like a play.
Mm-hmm.
So every time he was, every night he would do this, and the audience would get shocked. Okay, this time. It's fun if they throw something on stage, just like they go through the flower on stage, right in the middle of pain. What a great idea! I mean, now I couldn't have,
Can't stage that.
And sometimes with a rapier, the sword. Somebody, the very first night we did the tour, somebody threw this rag doll, and I was over here, and I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and caught it right in the middle of it, and everybody stood up, and you can't, there's no possible way to get that choreographed.
Tonight, did that ever happen? You threw the hat?
6 out of 8 times.
6 out of 8?
Which is going 6 for 8.
Stylish, very
real
stylish.
Cool, very James Bond. That. But I mean, the sword is the cool. I mean, Basil Rathbone, and they never see when they think that that's a totally spontaneous thing. I said, somebody get out there and throw me that rag doll every night, and you can never catch it. Then it's got to be one of those things where you see it. I can never. Alice does this. Alice is great at things like this. Like he'll see something over here coming, and he goes like that and catches it. And the roadies are sitting there and they're going, how do you do that? And I couldn't do that if I was myself like this, but Alice has got that extra kind of Willie Mays in him, I guess.
I think so. We could talk for days. Appreciate it. It's only going to be a few minutes.
I can't. My voice is going.
We appreciate it, Alice. Okay. Wunderbar.
I thank you for taping that again. That's great.
Sure.
I've been waiting to. We've been trying to find somebody to just do it. One camera.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Just to see the flow of the show.
He doesn't need the audio. He said.
Don't particularly need the audio. I just want
the audio. We got a bad audio on the beta. On the 3/4 fine, but he said he just wanted to see the
even
stage.
if it's a bad. You know what? If it's a bad audio, anyways, maybe just for reference, put it on. Doesn't matter. Because we're not looking for sound. I'm just looking for
more for visual correctness.
All right. Well.
Yeah.